I'm Gary Nickerson,
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
and this is Outside My Window. Today we're speaking with Neil MacKenzie. He's the CEO for the Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Tourism Association. Just for our listeners that still might not be familiar with YASTA, can you give us a little bit of background, Neil, on what YASTA is and what your specific role is?
Sure. Well, I'm the CEO of Yarmouth and Acadian Shores Tourism Association, as you mentioned, and we're the regional destination marketing organization, or DMO. So what we do is we market and manage the destination of Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, which is a tourism region. It's kind of a region that you would only find on a tourism map, but it's based on basically, marketing our destination and promotes travel and travel demand to the region. So, as a DMO, what YASTA does is we market the destination. So we do digital and print and traditional marketing campaigns to build awareness and drive a visitation and consideration of our destination. We try to differentiate our destination by supporting brand building and other initiatives that again, build awareness of Yarmouth and Acadian Shores. We attend consumer shows and travel trade shows and other events in our markets that we're trying to promote, like Northeast U.S., Atlantic Canada, Ontario, and Quebec. And again, try to have one-on-one conversations and build relationships with folks that can help us bring visitors here. And we work very closely with partners like Bay Ferries and Tourism Nova Scotia to also build demand and travel interest for our destination. So we have four team members, including myself, full time, and then in the summertime we kind of grow to a bit more with some staff members on the CAT and Fundy Rose, and also some summer staff as well that help us with activation at different attractions and places around the destination. So that's a lot of what we do. And one other thing is we also try to support our industry as well with opportunities for training and financial supports and customer service training and other things that are going to help elevate their offering to visitors as well, so that our destination at large, is seen as a great location to come and visit. So that's kind of in a nutshell what Yarmouth and Acadian Shores does.
Are there similar organizations like YASTA across the province and across the country, Neil? And do we as a whole have, good, sufficient coverage?
Yes, there's I would say, hundreds and hundreds of destination marketing organizations throughout the world, certainly thousands throughout the world and throughout Canada. So, just to reference a few in Nova Scotia, you have the DMO for Halifax is called Discover Halifax, and they're much larger, and they're very focused on driving demand and doing all the things that I just mentioned for the Halifax area. And then you have Discover or Destination Cape Breton that does the same thing in Cape Breton and Cape Breton Island. There's Destination Eastern Shore and Northumberland, which works in that area, and then there's some other smaller groups that do the Valley and the South Shore.
Wouldn't you all be competing for the same tourists?
We are. It is a very competitive marketplace. So that's why it's key that destinations have a brand, have pillars that differentiate them, so that we can say, okay, here's how we're different from other places. We compete, but we also work together because when visitors are coming to Nova Scotia, they aren't thinking about these imaginary lines, Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, and then the South Shore, and then the Valley. They're just thinking, I want to come to Nova Scotia. So what we do is we try to make sure that our brand is something that is memorable and that they'll experience and want to come to. But we also work with other partners because we know that they'll want to also include them on the itinerary, right? So, for example, Cape Breton is a very big lure for visitors in the Northeast U.S. People that travel on the Cat Ferry often will want to visit Cape Breton and Halifax, for example, Lunenburg. So those places motivate people to get on the ferry and come to Nova Scotia. And then, of course, Yarmouth and Acadian Shores gains from that interest because they come here first. And we're able to capture those visitors and have them experience our area, stay in a hotel, dine at one of our eateries and do some experiences in the area and spend some money. So our effort over the past 10 years has been to really try to extend their stay as much as possible, leverage the ferry, and leverage the opportunity that these other beautiful places in Nova Scotia bring.
We've had a couple of years of downtime with the ferry. Now it's poised to return to service, which is really exciting. Now, what does that mean for YASTA, and how excited are you for that?
Well, we're really excited about it. That you're correct that the ferry hasn't ran since 2018, and in 2018 it was the biggest year we had on record. So we were on a fantastic run at that point. We had over the past 5 years up to 2018, we had seen year-over-year growth in revenue and room nights and growth in business as well around tourism. And then when the ferry moved, of course, we lost that access in 2019. And then in 2020 and 21, it didn't operate because of the pandemic. So we're happy that it's back. It's our biggest opportunity for our market. But one thing that the pandemic taught us is that there's lots of opportunity in Atlantic Canada and in Nova Scotia itself. So the ferry might not have been running, but we were certainly working really hard. And I think we worked probably the hardest we've ever worked in the last 2 years to try to leverage every potential market that we could. So we shifted our efforts very much to the Fundy Rose and Atlantic Canada, and when those markets opened up, we were right there with our marketing and pushing that, and we actually did see some travel from Atlantic Canada, and certainly Nova Scotia as well. We refocused our efforts to HRM, which we get a lot of business from our regional market, and in 2021, last year, for example, without the ferry, we still exceeded actually 2019 numbers. So we actually did better last year than we did in 2019, just slightly, which was the first year without the ferry. So it shows to us that there's market potential in Atlantic Canada, and so when as we move out of the pandemic, hopefully, and start to welcome guests from Northeast U.S., we'll, of course, be leveraging that market as much as possible, and we're already doing that with some of our marketing and our efforts in that market. But we're going to continue to promote and leverage Atlantic Canada and Nova Scotia as well, because there's still business there, and there's still a lot of people that haven't been to our region. So we intend to do that, and that's why it's great that the ferry's back, because it helps us to really push back and start getting back to where we need to be, which is closer to 2018 numbers. And but also we're happy that we can continue to market our unique destination in Atlantic Canada.
So the number of visitors coming across on the boat is one thing, but encouraging them to stay and explore our area is another thing. So is there a particular demographic that you're targeting, or is it really broad?
No, we're pretty segmented with our marketing. So we've broken we segmented the targets within the markets that we're going after. So demographically, we're looking at the Northeast U.S. So we're looking at, people that are 25 and older. We're looking at people that are in that region. We're looking at people that are signaling interest in traveling, and certainly people that have, we're targeting folks that have, been on our website or engaged with our content on any of our social channels or any of our marketing that we've put out there. We're remarketing to them and reaching out to them. We're building our lists. So we definitely have segmented targets of markets within those regions that we're targeting. And we're not just, carpet bombing kind of and just hoping for the best, because the markets are so competitive. You have to have some segmentation, or you're going to waste a lot of your money and a lot of your energy spending your marketing. So you really want to be hyper targeted as much as possible with who you're going after. And we have certain personas that we target, and those are combinations of demographics and psychographics. So it's not just where they live and how much they make and how old they are and their gender and that kind of thing, but it's also their values and their interests and what motivates them, that kind of thing. We're also trying to get a good understanding of, to determine the intent of those visitors and then target them appropriately with appropriate marketing. So.
Neil, how much of your marketing activities is in the digital sphere versus the traditional media?
So we still do some traditional media and traditional channels. We're still doing consumer shows, for example, which is one-on-one conversations with visitors, and that we think are still quite valuable because those people are looking for destinations to travel to, and when they can talk to somebody from Nova Scotia who can provide them with some trusted, valuable information, we see that as still a really great thing to do. So that's very much a traditional channel. We still produce printed guides each year. We produce that in-house, and those are distributed on the Cat Ferry and Fundy Rose and at other visitor information centers around the province, and we also distribute that all over the place. So that's a very traditional. We have folks that are on the ships, on the Cat, for example, that work in the visitor information centers and have one-on-one discussions with passengers who are looking for information. They, believe it or not, people do get on that ferry still, or they were in 2018 anyway, without booking hotel rooms, for example,
Wow.
or knowing what they're going to do. Quite a few, and so that's a great opportunity for us to recommend experiences in the area or in Nova Scotia, and also help them book rooms and book experiences. So, and recommend restaurants. So that's very much those are traditional channels, as you mentioned. So we're still doing that, and we do the odd print, brochure or other things like that as well. But because the market we do attract is a bit older, and they are looking for some of that stuff, and folks still seem to love maps, for example. So we're still doing that. But so we're kind of in both camps there. Excuse me. But digital really does a lot to drive business to our website, which is again where all of our operators kind of live. Like we have information on where to stay, what to do, places to eat and dine, and experiences on our website, YarmouthAndAcadianShores.com. So we spend a lot of energy and resources to drive business there, with the hope that we'll then send them off to operators. So that would be what we would consider a conversion. We want to produce some targeted marketing, bring the traffic to our website, and then keep them on our website long enough so that they find something interesting and then either book a hotel or stay in a restaurant or book an experience while they're here. So we invest a lot of time on our website, which is our owned, and it's an owned marketing channel, digital channel, and we invest a lot in building our email lists of folks that want information from us, and we also spend a lot of resources and energy on digital marketing. So we do everything from Google display ads and Google search, keyword search marketing, so search marketing, paid display ads on Google Network, paid social, YouTube, etc. So we do a lot of different marketing in the digital space for sure.
The use of influencers, in social media, it has become a bit of a booming business, I guess, if you really want to call that. Do you tap into that side of things as well?
Very much so. That's that's kind of a combination of traditional and digital, because they're actually physically coming to the region, right? So that's a traditional way of building awareness for your destination. But then they're utilizing their large audiences that they have on their social networks and on their platforms to promote it. So we certainly work with influencers, and we have paid agreements with many of them, and they come here and they promote the things that we want them to promote, and they do it with their own specific flair and brand in mind. But it's been really successful for us, and something we really had to leverage a lot over the past 2 years with the travel restrictions. Luckily, there's quite a few influencers in Atlantic Canada and Nova Scotia that have good audiences and then produce great content. So we've really utilized influencer marketing, and a lot of that content that they produce is really what we would call evergreen content. So not only are they producing topical content where they produce a great social post or a story on Instagram that gets lots of engagement, but the photography and video content that they produce while they're here is actually something we own and that we can utilize at a later time for other marketing. So it's a good investment from our perspective, and we've seen a lot of good results from influencers and working with travel media.
We were talking about the ferry earlier, but what about cruise ships? We've had a couple of visits before. Will they be back this coming year?
Well, cruise certainly is back. I can say that most ports, the large ports in Nova Scotia and Atlantic Canada, in throughout the world, are all have lots of ships lined up and lots of visits. And we actually were on a good path as well before the pandemic, but the pandemic shut down a lot of the business that we had on the books for cruise ships coming here, and we're marketing to kind of a specific type of ship. We're looking to promote our destination as a location for expedition class cruise ships, so smaller ships, 300 to 400 passengers maximum, even smaller passenger counts. And they're looking for this specific type of experience that I feel our destination can offer. But we lost a lot of that business during the pandemic, and we're trying to rekindle that now with some of our partners, like the Atlantic Canada Cruise Association, and we'll be attending the we'll be attending the Cruise Canada's New England Symposium in Portland in June to build awareness of our destination and try to rekindle those relationships. But I am happy to say that we actually have some good news on the horizon, and we are starting to see the market come back from our small destination. We do have a cruise ship scheduled to come May 13th, actually.
Wow.
And this is the first time the ship would be here. This is the Silver Cloud. The company, the cruise ship or the cruise line is called Silver Seas, and they're a luxury expedition class vessel, and there'll probably be about 150 passengers on there. It's almost a 1-to-1 crew ratio, so very, very high-end cruise market. And we're looking forward to welcoming them and showing them a bit of what our location has, and hopefully we can grow that so that they'll keep coming back.
Looking at cruise ship visits as a bit of a niche market here, could Yarmouth accommodate more visits like that?
Absolutely. One of the good things about cruise ships and specifically the market we're targeting is that we have customs here. So we have Canada Border Services Agency here year round. So that allows ships to come straight from the U.S. and be their first port of call can be Yarmouth. So we see that as a great asset for us to leverage. We're also a cruise ship operations certified port. So the customs office that's here is already certified to disembark passengers from cruise ships. So that's a great asset for our port. And there's a huge market right now for expedition class vessels. They're looking for destinations and experiences that we can provide. So we think we're well positioned to do that. And the other good thing about cruise ships is that sometimes they won't even dock at our wharves. They'll actually just tender off at the mouth of the harbor and then come in with Zodiacs. So the infrastructure in place, we have the infrastructure in place now that to allow us to welcome these ships, and they often come. They want to come in the spring, so early spring, as this one's coming in May 13th, or in the fall is the high season actually for cruise ships. So for the Canada New England corridor, so we find that market is very well positioned for us in our seasonality efforts, because we're trying to not just promote Yarmouth and Acadian Shores as a summer destination. We're also working hard, and we have a strategy in place to try to build a market around fall and winter. So cruise ships really align well with that, because the ferry often operates, it's going to be starting on May 19th, and then it runs till October. And we feel that cruise ships can work within that same market and not really harm the ferry market at all, but augment our efforts to bring even more people here.
This summer, you're going to be hosting the annual conference for the Travel Media Association of Canada. Can you just sort of give us an idea of what that involves and how big a deal this really is?
Sure. So this is a major conference coming. It's going to start on June 19th and go right till the 28th. It's, as you mentioned, it's the Travel Media Association of Canada conference, and it's going to be held in Yarmouth and then the surrounding southwest area. Basically, everything south of Route 8. All our partners are basically within that region. And as I mentioned earlier, travel, influencers and travel media, like travel writers and things like that, have been a great channel for us to market and build awareness for our destination. And then we've got some great content out over the years from people that have produced great content for us and really helped build our destination. So, but we usually each year we work with 5 to 6 influencers and maybe some other travel writers, 6 to 10 maybe. But this conference is going to bring in close to 88 travel media in 1 week. And
Wow.
they're all going to be here producing content and writing, and a lot of them have already sold stories to major publications like the Toronto Star or Globe and Mail and other major print traditional print media. So, and a lot of them have very large audiences as well online. So we're super excited at the market and media value that this is going to provide for actually years to come. So it's a really big deal that we have this in our destination, and it's a lot of work. There's over 80 partners involved in making this happen, and we've been just going straight out to try to get ready for this, and there's a lot of work involved, and a lot of resources and money that's needed to actually make it happen. But luckily, we've had some great supportive partners in the region, and certainly municipally and provincially and federally, to help us with this. And we couldn't be more pleased that it's happening. So it's going to be a really great conference.
So, according to the TMAC's website, last year's event was virtual, so it's probably going to feel good for everybody to get out and about this year.
So we've had great feedback from everybody booking already, and we actually reached our goals with registrations
Excellent.
prior to what we thought. So we actually had to stop registration. So there's very much, and there's a waiting list now for people to attend. So there's a lot of interest in coming, and we have some great media with great audiences and experience coming. So we couldn't be more pleased about that.
Now, what can we expect from this conference for our area, and what are the anticipated benefits?
Well, the benefit, I mean, it does have room night impact, and we are going to be utilizing a lot of the tourism operators in the area and restaurants and experiences and hotels while we're here. So there'll be some room night impact and spin-off, benefits to other related sectors. Certainly, just from the conference itself, but the real benefit for this is the media value. So it's going to be, a massive amount of value that we wouldn't have been able to pay for that's going to be produced by these media that are coming, because part of the requirements for them to come is that they have to be a actual member of the Travel Media Association of Canada, and that is a vetting process, and you have to actually be somebody who's producing content and producing work. And when you come to this conference, you have to apply to come to the conference, and part of the requirement to come to the conference is that you actually produce work. And we're going to be the beneficiaries of that. We're going to see that work be produced, and that content that's going to be in traditional media and online, and that's going to be building awareness and travel demand and consideration of our location and our destination for years to come. So it's going to help us get to a place where we once were in the tourism market, and really help us build recovery back to where we need to be. And that's really going to be the benefit for this conference coming here. It's very much a media value benefit.
For a conference like this, I mean, of course, it does take a lot of time, effort, resources, and people. So, are you looking for volunteers to help?
We could always use some volunteers for sure. And if you're interested, they can just send an email to info@yasta.ca. So info at yasta.ca, and we'll reach out to them for sure.
What sort of resources are you looking for? Are you looking for like drivers and just regular people?
Well, we do have a requirement for drivers, but so if there is someone interested in that, they can certainly reach out to us. I think we have most of the people we need for that right now, and we don't just need a driver. We need someone who can also not only drive but be a bit of a tour guide as well. If that fits kind of what you're thinking, then and you think that would be something you'd like to do, we'd love to hear from you. But we do need drivers, and we probably just need some people. We do need some people just to help us with setups and teardowns and other things at the conference.
What sort of local visits and events do you have planned for the attendees? Certainly, there's only so many hours in the day.
Well, they're here from June 19th to June 28th, and they have a fully packed conference from that. So the first 3 days, the 19th, 20th, and 21st, they'll be touring. There's 6 pre-tours that'll be happening around the province, around the Southwest, and we'll be touring people around, and they'll be doing experiences in the area for those 3 days. And then we have 4 days of the conference, and the conference is made up of what we call the media marketplace. So that's a situation where they're actually going to be sitting down with these travel media and destinations like myself are going to sit there and pitch story ideas. But then we also have events during the conference. So we're going to have a welcome reception for them on the Cat Ferry on the Wednesday night, the 22nd. The 22nd, and then the 23rd, we're going to do a large full welcome event on the waterfront at Rudders. And on the 24th, we're going to do a dine-around event at the Digby Pines. And then we're going to have a gala event at the Grand Hotel on the last night of the conference on the Saturday night, the 25th. So, and then they're going to leave and do 3 more days of post tours around the region. So they're going to get a great sampling of our destination in Southwest Nova Scotia for sure. And so there's going to be no lack of content for them to write about and to produce. So we're not concerned at that. We're just hoping for great weather and that everything goes smoothly, because there's a lot of logistics and transportation involved to move everybody around and get them to all these amazing places in the Southwest Nova Scotia.
For the content that's going to be created, is it a short-term flash in the pan highlight of our area, or is it material that we can leverage on a more long-term basis?
So it's as I mentioned, it's a combination of topical or content that's going to happen as they're here, because they're all going to be posting and creating social content and online content while they're here. But then they're all required to produce work. So they have to produce blogs and video and photography and articles and other content. So when they produce that, if it's produced in another online property, then we can share that information out there, and we're reaching their markets and their audiences. So there'll be a kind of an instant flash in the pan, as you mentioned, but then there'll be ongoing rollout of the content, probably for the next year or so.
Excellent.
From the work that's being produced. So, yep.
Have you got a hashtag ready?
We do, yeah. We have all that stuff in place, and there's actually quite a few hashtags when you figure out everybody, all the partners that are involved in TMAC and all their social channels. We have to get all that information to all the media that are coming, right? So
hashtags are longer than the message.
Yeah.
Now, YASTA is involved in a variety of other things. Tell us about Acadian Day.
So one of the things that we like to celebrate here, obviously, is the Acadian culture and experience and language and food and music, all the things that are in the Yarmouth and Acadian shores that are steeped in Acadian heritage and culture. And every year there's usually a celebration on August 15th to celebrate Acadian Day. But this year it's an excellent opportunity to really get out there and celebrate, because we're going to Pubnico is going to be holding a live concert outside to celebrate Acadian Day, and it's going to be broadcast live on Radio Canada nationally. So it's a national radio broadcast of the live concert that's going to be happening at Dennis Point Wharf in Pubnico to celebrate Acadian Day, and there's going to be lots of Acadian artists and music and a lot of fun, and it's just going to be a great experience for everybody. So I'd mark that in your calendars now. Acadian Day celebration concert in Dennis Point in Pubnico. Live radio broadcast of the concert on CBC, and it's just going to be a great day and a great experience for everybody.
I also saw a post about curling coming back in December. I know we're quite a few months out, but it really isn't when you think about it.
Right. So it'll be here before you know it. But I think most people look forward to December because it's a great time anyway. But we are going to be hosting the Everest Curling Canada Seniors Championships, and in December at the Mariner Center and at the local curling club, and that will be December 5th to 10th. So we're really excited to be welcoming another national event. So this would be two national events that we're going to have in the same year. So we're really pleased about that. TMAC and of course this curling event, and of course we get some great national exposure as well with the Acadian Day. So The curling event is going to be fun, and we'll convert the Mariner Center to a curling rink, and we'll have some really talented curlers come, and all the audience and supporters that brings as well. So we're super excited to welcome them to the area. It's great to have this experience in December when we could use the business certainly for hotel rooms, and so we couldn't be more pleased that they've chosen our destination again to host it.
And what's on YASTA's radar long term?
So we will continue to roll out our marketing plans year over year. We'll continue to work with events rights holders to build and host national events and regional events if we can. And we'll try to position those events in times of year that are going to have the most impact, like the fall and spring. And we'll also continue to build our relationship and markets in the Northeast U.S. And we'll be building the cruise ship market as much as possible as well. So those are kind of the efforts we're trying to do. And of course, in order to do all that, we need to ensure that our online work is there and our website is still really great. And we need to keep building our brand and all those things that are going to ensure that our destination is considered when people look at places to go for their vacations.
I'm Gary Nickerson.
And I'm Quinn Taggart.
And this has been Outside My Window.